Well, it's official. CJ Gardner-Johnson doesn't have a fractured rib. He actually has a lacerated kidney. How different is it from the Zach Ertz lacerated kidney a couple of years ago? When could he come back? And are there options in the free agent market? I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Tuesday, and it's safe to say Philadelphia has suffered their biggest injury of the entire season with the now lacerated kidney news coming out regarding CJ Gardner-Johnson. Now, we talked about this on the show yesterday when we didn't have full information. Not on a Monday, they would say rib injury. That's what they were telling the media around Philadelphia, that it was a rib injury. Now, a day later on a Tuesday, the fog of war in terms of NFL injuries has subsided, and it's a rib injury, and it looks pretty serious for CJ Gardner-Johnson. So let's give you all the details, break it all down, and then finish today's show with some NFL national story stuff, including power rankings and NFL draft rankings as well. Let's start, though, right now with the Bleeding Green Nation article. Good write-up here. We'll get into some more detail as well with some supporting tweets and information, but here's the deal. CJ Gardner-Johnson reportedly out due to a lacerated kidney. And, of course, we knew it was something, in the rib area. The report was a rib, and the fact that the lacerated kidney is not necessarily a surprise, but it's different than what we were originally told, hence why we're updating here this morning. Quote, CJ Gardner-Johnson is, quote, out indefinitely after suffering a lacerated kidney during the Philadelphia Eagles' Week 12 win over the Green Bay Packers, according to a report from NFL insider Tom Pelissero. Pelissero adds that CJ Gardner-Johnson's recovery timeline is still being determined, but is not expected to be season-ending. He was clearly in a lot of pain after laying a big hit on Christian Watson Sunday night. He was down on the field for some time before very slowly walking off the field and immediately being carted inside. There's not yet an indication that CJ Gardner-Johnson will go on injured reserve. If he does, he will automatically miss at least the Eagles' next 4 games. Tennessee on Sunday, you have the Giants the Sunday after that, Chicago, and then Dallas. 4 of the biggest games left on the Eagles' schedule, at least 3 of the biggest games left on the Eagles' schedule. For what it's worth, starting safety posted a picture on his official Instagram account with the caption, "Passionate about what I do, I will be back." And finally, the Bleeding Green Nation article says, that said, Reed Blankenship did show promise in his first extended NFL action. He became the first undrafted rookie free agent to ever pick off Aaron Rodgers. Blankenship did also play a part in giving up a long touchdown to Christian Watson and got banged up towards the end of the game, forcing Kayvon Wallace to see snaps. Blankenship has only leapfrogged Wallace on the depth chart the week prior. And so, again, a lot to go ahead and break down here, but you add this to the Dallas Goedert and the Jordan Davis injury, and you have the 3 big injuries so far on the Eagles season. Now, thankfully, none seem to be season-ending, with the possibility of Jordan Davis coming back as early as Sunday against the Tennessee Titans, but this is a big blow to Philadelphia. Now, I was talking to my doctor girlfriend about this, and she was trying to explain, again, just from a medical perspective, what exactly is going on here, and she said that most of the time with a lacerated kidney, you have a fractured rib as well, because there's going to be something that actually lacerates the kidney. Normally not just blunt force impact, it's got to break something and then actually have the laceration. However, that does not seem to be the case here, which is good news. Again, normally you would see a sort of a fracture with the rib lacerating the kidney. Not the case according to Jeff McClain from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Quote, some further clarification on Gardner-Johnson's injury. There is no rib fracture, even though the initial diagnosis was a rib injury. Zach Ertz had both a fractured rib and lacerated kidney. CJ Gardner-Johnson just has the laceration. And so this is, again, worth noting because it's a little bit different from what Ertz has dealt with and other NFL players have dealt with. You wouldn't have normally the laceration and the break or the fracture. This time, just the laceration. Now, in terms of a timeline, there really isn't one here. And a lot of people will comment down below and they'll say, Thomas, Zach Ertz was out for like 1 game at the end of the season a couple of years ago and played in that playoff game. He did, but it was like kind of a win or go home situation. They had to have him out there. They needed him out there, and he had a flak jacket on and played through a ton of pain. I don't see them rushing CJ Gardner-Johnson back just due to the fact that you still have quite a few weeks left in the NFL season. Much like the Jordan Davis and Dallas Goedert situations, Philadelphia's okay without them. They're 10-1 right now, and those are massive blows. Goedert, Jordan Davis, we talked about this, and now Gardner-Johnson, but you want these guys to be 100%. You would rather CJ come back, for the end of the season or even just wait till the playoffs, then rush him back early, have him re-aggravate the injury, and then he's officially put on IR and done for the season. So I don't want to rush him back, and I will obviously now put my faith in Reed Blankenship, who we'll talk about here in just 1 second, as the answer to the Eagles' now safety problem. Now, there was some buzz on Twitter about possibly bringing back a familiar face in Malcolm Jenkins, and I think we need to at least address that here, because the odds of this happening are very, very slim. But instead of just speculating and going, oh, well, what if they did sign him, there's at least some reporting regarding straight from the horse's mouth here, straight from the mouth of Malcolm Jenkins about playing again. Jacob Media has a good tweet here via an interview with John Clark, who I think is with NBC in Philadelphia. Could be wrong on that, but John Clark, obviously a very good Eagles reporter. This is straight from the mouth of Malcolm Jenkins just the other day. Quote, I can still play. I'm still in shape. I'm still working out. It's not far-fetched. I'm still in it. I do enjoy my seat watching as a fan, but I could come in for a stretch, end quote. And so immediately the alarm bells go off here in terms of an Eric Weddle situation with the LA Rams last year. Remember, Eric Weddle, over the age of 30, very clearly had retired from the National Football League, comes back and basically goes on a Super Bowl run with the Rams for just a couple of games and plays pretty well. We must at least acknowledge one thing with Malcolm Jenkins. He would be an exciting hire. He would be a, head-turning hire, but he would be a very limited player right now, trying to get up to speed with Philadelphia. If you were to go ahead and do this, this would be a last resort kind of thing if, for instance, they want to go ahead and, rule out CJ for the rest of the season. Like, if it gets to the point where the kidney's not going to heal and he's officially not going to play even in the postseason, then maybe you go sign Malcolm Jenkins the final week of the year, bring him in for at most a 4-game stretch, final game, division round, wild card, Super Bowl, and then see if he can hang on and, play enough and play well enough to deserve time on the football field. But it needs to be said, this is pretty far-fetched and would be very surprising if it actually happened. Not impossible, because Weddle did it last year, but still very interesting, and we got to make sure that we be honest about signing Malcolm Jenkins, because I don't think it's going to happen. You're probably stuck with the current guys that you have. If you'd like him, though, and I would, I'm not saying I wouldn't want him, I'm just saying it's a little bit far-fetched. He hadn't played this year. Give this show a thumbs up. Be sure to comment down below as well, as that helps this show grow. Now, you're probably asking, Thomas, are there other options in free agency that you could go ahead and sign up your Philadelphia? The answer is basically no. There isn't a lot. There's a good write-up here from NFLTradeRumors.com that lists the current NFL free agents that are available. There aren't a lot that would actually make sense. You see Jaquiski Tartt is their highest-ranked safety. You recognize him because he was signed by Philadelphia and then subsequently released. Never actually played a down with the Eagles. He's one of the few remaining free agents out there, but you got to remember, if you're a free agent right now, there's a reason you're a free agent right now. Whether you're Ndamukong Suh waiting for the right team, or your Tartt, who no team actually wanted you got to be very, very clear about the fact that there are not a lot of safeties. You got to keep scrolling to find the next one. Gerard Wilson, who was formerly a Giant, is the next one on this list. There's not a lot in terms of going out and signing somebody. If you were to sign somebody, it's Jenkins or nobody, and I think they're going to probably just ride with what they have. And we got to at least acknowledge the fact that Reed Blankenship did play well in limited snaps last Sunday night, a couple days ago, against the Green Bay Packers. The interception was very, very well, but he did get banged up a little bit. He's fine, but he did get banged up, and that's why Kayvon Wallace did see the football field. I expect them to kind of go with both. I think you'll see Blankenship play a little bit more, but there will be scenarios and snaps and possessions when Kayvon Wallace does come in, because he's at least a little bit more experienced right now in the Eagle defense, a little more experience as an NFL safety. Doesn't mean he's better, but he has more experience in clutcher situations, whereas Reed Blankenship is undrafted out of Middle Tennessee State, I believe. I got that wrong yesterday. You guys reminded me. He is an undrafted free agent and a rookie, which does have an impact in terms of, making sure that you don't have any sort of boneheaded plays out there. So that's the current update. I mean, that's as much as I can go into. That's as much as we know. Lacerated kidney, we don't know how long. Maybe there's an update tomorrow, maybe Thursday, maybe next week. Be sure to subscribe to find out what happens. But Philadelphia will be without their star safety and maybe their best secondary player this year, the league leader in interceptions for an extended period of time. What will they do? That remains to be seen in the ongoing saga of the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. I'm not going to end yet. I want to keep going here on the Thomas Mott Show, get into the NFL power rankings and update the NFL draft order as well, because a lot of good things happen for Philadelphia. First, though, do want to mention, if you feel confident, even without CJ Gardner-Johnson, in the Eagles on Sunday against Tennessee, Vegas has them as almost a touchdown favorite. You can bet $5 on the Eagles, get back $200 if they win via our friends at DraftKings and the TFM link, currently linked down below in the description box. I mean, it's very simple. All you do is sign up using my link. You see it right here on your screen. Register, deposit $5+, put a $5+ money bet on the next Eagles game on Sunday. Get back $200 in free bets if they win. That's pretty good right there, and it's DraftKings as well. A legit betting website. Jump in on this deal right now. Bet 5 on the Eagles, get $200 back. It's all linked down below in the description box. Okay, we always like to look at power rankings on a Tuesday from NFL.com. Philadelphia's hovered nowhere less than the third seed, I should say, the third power ranking since like week 3, and they are back to number 1 after a dominant win, at least offensively, against the Green Bay Packers. They say, quote, monster performances in primetime games can serve as ultra fuel in MVP race. Jalen Hurts showed a huge audience with what a difference maker he can be on Sunday night, breaking Michael Vick's franchise record for quarterbacks with 157 rushing yards and a 43-33 win over the Packers. Hurts also became the first NFL QB since at least 1950 with 150 rushing yards, 150 passing yards, and at least 2 passing scores in a single game. And Philadelphia, of course, rushed for 363. I mean, you got to realize that he's doing something that Colin Kaepernick never did, that Michael Vick never did, that Lamar Jackson has not done, Justin Fields has not done. You talk about some of the good running quarterbacks in the league or previously in the league the past 10 years. Hurts, I mean, might be the best. And it's not because he's a better runner than, say, Lamar Jackson. He's a smarter runner overall. He takes less hits, and I think he's a better thrower of the football. And so, not as fast, but he doesn't seem to get hit as much, and he throws the football a little bit better. You can see why people are saying he should be the MVP, including myself. Kansas City falls 1 spot to the number 2 spot, and that's just because Philadelphia looked so good offensively on primetime. It was a good win for the Chiefs, but, 26-10 against the Rams led by nobody. I mean, everybody, Perkins is their quarterback. Everybody's hurt with the Rams. Not as impressive, but still, they're 2. San Francisco rises a little bit. They don't score a lot of points against the Saints this past week, but they do hold the Saints to 0 points. That's hard to do in the NFL. Credit to them. Dallas falls 1 spot to 4. We're going to see if they get OBJ this week. The fact they haven't done that yet, though, I think the Miami incident is a little bit bigger than people are realizing. Bills 5, Dolphins 6, Vikings up to 7, Bengals up to 8, Tennessee at 9, and the Jets jump 4 spots to 10. The Mike White era, a lot better than the Zach Wilson era this past couple of weeks. I think Baltimore's your big fraud in the AFC. I think what we saw this past week kind of proves that, losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Lamar's pressure to get a new deal is weighing on him a lot, even though he would say that it's not. It's hard not to, right? Like, it's what happens with a lot of people who are up pending free agents wanting new deals. They, either get hurt or they just have too much pressure on them because they know they got to stay healthy and play well. And I don't know if that's what's going on with Lamar Jackson, but that seems to be quite of an issue. Chargers there at 12, Commanders at 13, who are pesky and annoying. Let's just be real. They're winning football games. Credit to them. Seattle falls 2 spots to 14, and the Patriots go to 15 after losing to the Vikings on Thanksgiving evening. So not a lot of massive changes, but I think the top 10 is becoming very clear here, and you're just seeing a couple of moves up and down based on wins and losses, but Philadelphia firmly at number 1. That is good news. All right, final story here quickly. Update on the draft order. I had mentioned a lot of scenarios that could help Philadelphia this weekend. A lot of them did happen, so let's go ahead and see where Philadelphia is in the NFL draft as of this week. Houston is going to be the number 1 overall pick, barring some sort of massive change. They've benched Davis Mills. They're very clearly in the quarterback sweepstakes for Stroud or Bryce Young. Chicago there at number 2, as they're without Justin Fields, possibly tanking as well. They can get a really impactful player at number 2. They have a lot of needs, including edge rusher and offensive lineman. Seattle to number 3. This is via the Denver Broncos, because the Broncos are atrocious. 3 points against the the Carolina Panthers? It's terrible times in Denver, and Seattle's going to benefit massively from that, having a top 3 pick. Detroit, they're winning, but they get this via the Rams, and so the Rams pick falls. Detroit has a top 5 pick. That's huge for that franchise. And then Carolina at 5, followed by Philadelphia at number 6. You see, of course, because of the head-to-heads, that's why Carolina's a little bit ahead in the draft order of the Saints, which is the Eagles' pick. So 6 right now, still a top 10 pick. You like it to get to the top 5, but as I keep mentioning, you got to root for these teams ahead of Philadelphia to win. You want the Rams to win. You want the Panthers to win. You really want the Denver Broncos to win, and you want the Bears to win. And if that all happens with the Saints losing, Philadelphia's draft pick can get a lot higher. Cardinals at 7, Packers at 8. That's how bad they've been this year. Last time they had a top 10 pick. Raiders at 9, and then the Jaguars, because they won, sitting there at number 10. So, quick updates. Again, I want to give you guys what's going on, not only with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I know that we focus in, but it's an NFL show as well. And so I like to go ahead and update you guys on NFL stuff, power rankings, and draft. We're going to keep you guys up to date with everything happens with Philadelphia this week and the NFL, so be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.